If you're in the police recruitment process or you're applying to join the police, you are going to have an interview at some point. But what model do I use? What structure do I use to answer the questions that I'm going to get asked? Especially the rear-facing questions. These are ones that start off with, please, can you tell me about a time when? So in this video, I'm going to explore all the different models that are out there, all the different structures. I'm going to tell you why they either work or don't work. And by the end of this video, you'll have access to our preferred model, one that results in a 95% success rate. Yes, for our clients, our academy members, we have a 95% plus success rate. And this is one of the reasons why. But before I continue, who am I? Why should you listen to anything I've got to say? My name is Brendan from Blue Light, and over the past 31 years now, I've been supporting people for promotion boards, specialist interviews, and over the past 15 years or so for the recruitment process. We've had thousands of success stories along those years. I've got a great team of coaches working with me. We've got over 800 5-star Trustpilot reviews, and we actually guarantee the result as well. For our academy members, if you don't pass, we give you a full refund. How about that? More about that in a moment though. Let's dive in and explore some of these models. So the first one you're likely to come across if you Google how to answer interview questions is this one. The STAR model. And even force recruitment teams will advise you to use this model as well. But we find it quite limiting. Now, what does it stand for? It stands for situation, task, action, result. The problem is with this one is that the advice wrapped around it on most websites tends to be quite limiting and quite basic. So when we talk about the situation, often people talk about a situation that's not very challenging and difficult. The police want to hear about challenging and difficult things. And then you've got this word task. The task I set myself. The task I was set. No one talks like that. So why talk like that now? Why talk like that in your interview? And you might fall into the trap also of describing a task you were set. Now, the interviewers don't want to hear about that. They want to hear about when you decided to challenge a difficult problem. In the action phase, people tend to talk about what they did, but not how they did it. It's the how that gets you the marks. And then the result, all the advice out there tells you to use an example of where everything went to plan and you got a really, really good successful result. They don't want to hear that neither, because they'll either think one of two things. One, the situation wasn't challenging or difficult enough, or two, you're BSing them. So, or both even, or both. If it's challenging and difficult, things didn't go to plan. Something didn't go to plan. So they want to hear about not just the success, but also the stuff that didn't go to plan, the mistakes you made and what you do differently next time. So for that reason, we're going to put the STAR model in the bin. All right, next you might find this. The SOAR model. This stands again for situation, but now we have objective, and then we have action and result. So very, very similar, except we're replacing the T for task with O for objective. Again, no one talks like that. The objective I set myself. Really? You talk like that? No one talks like that. Even in the police, we kind of use the phrase, our objective is. The objective of this search warrant is too. So yeah, if you're in the police, you might utilize this kind of language, but not for an interview to join the police. So again, do we like this one? No, we don't. All right, next you might find this. The CARL model. This stands for context, action, result, learning. Again, though, no one actually, well, some people might say this. So the context of this challenge, the context of no. In my role as a situation occurred where that reels off the tongue a lot better. So we like situation, but we don't like context. And then it jumps straight into action, result. But we do like this bit. There's some learning in it as well. But what people tend to do for the learning is to just give sort of bland phrases like, I learned it's good to share a task with others, or I learned it's good to collaborate with others in an efficient and effective way. They're just like cliched statements of fact. So we do like the learning part, but we don't like the context bit, because again, people just don't talk like that. So do we like it? No, we don't. So what do we do instead? Well, over the years, we've developed our own system. it's got similarities to some of these, but it's the best of everything. And we've developed it specifically for the police recruitment and promotion process, because we know how much the police interviewers like detail. And so what we've developed is this. Call it the SAARL model. So the situation, in my role as a situation occurred where, and then you describe the difficult or challenging situation. We also have other little layers underneath it, which we include for our Academy members, things like impact factors. So what was the impact of this, or what was the impact going to be of this difficult and challenging thing unless you dealt with it? What was the impact going to be on others? So those are the sort of things we can include in our situation to make it really, really solid. You're setting a really solid foundation for your answer. By the way, if you're thinking the Academy program, I'd like to guarantee a pass, that sounds really awesome, then we have to have a conversation. It's a no obligation conversation. All you need to do is complete the form at the top of the description there. It takes you about 3 minutes to do so. Just ask questions like, where are you now? Where do you want to be? Which force do you want to join? What are you struggling with? And then we'll jump on a call, see if the Academy program is a good fit for you. It's very intensive. There's a lot of one-to-one coaching in there. There's a lot of small group practice webinars. There's a lot of online material. But if you are the person that's up for hard work, and if you are up for that hard work, we will help you along the process and we'll actually guarantee the result. If you don't succeed, we keep working with you. Don't succeed a second time, we give you a full refund. How about that? We don't do many refunds, by the way. Our success rate is 95% plus. That's why we can afford to give that cast iron guarantee. Anyway, want to find out more? The link at the top of the description there, or in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook. All right, let's continue with this SAARL model then. So as opposed to saying objective or task, what we like to talk about is the aim. Now this resonates with police assessors because the national decision model has an aim in it. And it's a sort of language that police officers use a lot. Like, what I'm aiming to achieve here is, what I was aiming to achieve was, and then we can do things like describe the options that we considered in order to achieve that aim. Options, they love that as well. They love it because that sits again within the national decision model. So they're seeing that you're taking a structured approach, one that resonates with them. Even if they don't consciously resonate with it, at an unconscious level, they will resonate with your answer because you're speaking the same sort of language, you're going through the same sort of structured approach that they will go through as part of the problem-solving process when they're faced with a difficult or challenging thing. The next A stands for action, so very similar to the others. But as opposed to just talk about what we did, we're going to talk about how we did it. It's the how, that's where the marks are, where you describe your behaviors. Describe how you did things, not just what you did. So talking about, I held a meeting and I collaborated with everyone in the meeting in order to get our 3 top priorities. That sounds great, or anything similar to that, but that's what you did. How did you do those things? That's where the marks are. The R stands for result. So we are still talking about the result, but we're talking about, I call it the 80-20 principle. 80% went well, 20% didn't go well. So what do we do with that 20%? Well, we talk about the thing that didn't go well, we talk about the mistake that we made, and then we can segue that perfectly into the learning. So the learning isn't just about, I learned it's good to talk, or I learned it's good to share information, or I learned it's good to do whatever cliche, bland phrase. You're talking about learning from that mistake that you made. You're making it very individual to that mistake that you made and ensuring and convincing the assessors that you wouldn't make that mistake again in the future. Sound good? Right. It's awesome. This is the model that has enabled thousands and thousands of individuals to succeed. And we can add more to it as well. Optional extra, knowledge and understanding. This is where you hybridize your rear-facing question, answer, and you turn it into a forward-facing answer by talking about how you would apply this behavior, value, this skill set that you've just described in your answer to the world of policing. This nails it. This puts the icing on the cake for our clients. This is what has the assessors sat on the edge of their seats thinking, I'd be an idiot if I failed this person. And the consistent feedback our clients get is when they apply this part, and I put it in brackets because it's optional, because there's a lot to remember there. When they apply this part, it really impresses them and they really love it. And they get consistent feedback that the interview was outstanding. So if that's where you'd like to be, getting that kind of feedback, then complete the form at the top of the description and we'll have that conversation. Otherwise, keep practicing and to make sure that your answers are amazing. And remember, it's not just rear-facing questions. You might also get forward-facing questions, scenario questions, motivation questions, impact questions, role questions, challenge questions, corporate knowledge questions, or you might have role plays, group exercises, presentations, briefings, and written exercises to do. There's a whole load more that's involved in the recruitment process, but if you'd like to find out more, then come and join us. Come and join us and we'll help you on that journey. Take care. Speak to you soon.